Stop for a second and really tune in to what you're feeling right now, because a change is already underway. It isn't creeping along on some far-off timeline, and it isn't waiting for a special date to arrive. It's happening in this very moment. You might not have the whole picture yet, but somewhere inside you, you already sense it. A quiet rearranging, a movement stirring beneath the surface of everything you thought was fixed. What used to feel far away now feels close, almost within reach, like it was inevitable all along. This isn't hopeful thinking or wishful fantasy. This is simply how the law works when you engage it correctly. The instant you shifted something inside yourself, the instant you were willing to accept without proof that what you wanted already belonged to you, the machinery behind the scenes started turning. What can't be seen moved first. What can be seen is only now catching up. You're no longer stuck in a waiting room. You're watching pieces click into place, and they're clicking fast, because you're simply not the same person who used to second-guess everything. You've grown into someone who treats miracles like they're ordinary, ho-hum, expected. And once your expectations change, reality is left with no choice but to bend toward them. Something significant is on its way to you, not through random luck, but because you assumed it into being. And whatever you've assumed with real conviction has to eventually show up in the physical world, whether you can trace the path there or not. You don't need to understand the mechanics. You only need to trust that the mechanics are already engaged. Neville Daily. There's a point in every person's story where the fight quietly stops. Not because anything on the outside has changed just yet, but because something on the inside finally has. It doesn't come with fireworks, nobody claps, there's no announcement. And yet it's the single most important turning point a person can experience. The shift has already taken place within you, and once that happens, the outer circumstances are essentially obligated to rearrange themselves to match it. You might be looking at the same walls, the same job, the same bank balance, the same everyday routine, but you are not the same person observing it anymore. And that changes absolutely everything. Because your future isn't shaped by what's currently in front of you, it's shaped by the state of mind you're viewing it from. The moment you quit pleading, quit fearing, quit obsessing over the how, and instead began simply assuming your desire was already fulfilled, you crossed over into a new state of being. That state is the actual creative force. That state is the cause. Everything you're seeing right now in the physical world is nothing more than its delayed reflection. Sit with that for a moment. Life doesn't just happen to you, it happens through you. Every event, every conversation, every so-called opportunity is really just a mirror of the belief you're holding about yourself. When you believed you were stuck in a holding pattern, your circumstances reflected that delay right back at you. When you felt shaky and unsure, the world around you echoed that same confusion. But something has shifted now. There's a settled confidence in you that wasn't there before. You're no longer starving for evidence. You're no longer scanning the horizon for signs. There's a steadiness now, a quiet certainty that whatever you've claimed on the inside is bound to show up on the outside eventually. This is where real momentum begins. Think of the outer world as an echo chamber. It simply repeats back whatever you've already declared within your own mind. When you stay planted in the feeling of already having what you want, that feeling sinks into the deeper layers of your consciousness. And once it's rooted there, it starts constructing a new reality around you. You won't necessarily see the gears turning right away, but they are turning. Conversations are being set up behind the scenes. Doors are quietly being unlocked. People are being nudged into position, often with no idea why they suddenly feel pulled to act the way they do. None of this requires you to force it. Forcing is what people do when they're still doubting. When you actually know something, you don't have to push or strain. You simply stay loyal to the assumption. A seed doesn't dig itself up every day to check on its own progress. It rests, fully convinced. And it's exactly that rest that allows it to grow. Here's why things start falling into place so quickly once that inner shift happens. Resistance simply dissolves. Resistance is really nothing more than the gap between what you want and what you actually believe is true. Once your belief lines up with your desire, there's no more friction. And when friction disappears, movement speeds up dramatically. Think about it honestly. When you truly believe something already belongs to you, everything about you changes. The way you carry yourself, the tone of your voice, how you react to setbacks, how you interpret events. What once looked like a rejection now reads as a redirection. What once felt like a frustrating delay now feels like preparation for something better. Same exact world, but a completely different state of consciousness produces a completely different lived experience. This inner shift is powerful, but it's also delicate, so it needs to be guarded. Don't let yourself slide back into old conversations replaying in your head. Don't rehash the old story about how hard things used to be. The past only stays alive if you keep feeding it your attention. Pull your focus away from what used to be true and give it fully to the new reality you've already assumed. You're not turning into a different person, you're stepping into a different state of being. And any state you fully occupy eventually expresses itself outwardly. The real key here is persistence, not effort, not straining. Persistence in the feeling, persistence in the identity, persistence in simply knowing. If doubt creeps back in, don't wrestle with it. Just gently return to the end result. Return to the version of you who already has what you want. How does that version think? How does that version feel about tomorrow? Calm, settled, sure of itself. That certainty is the creative power actually doing its work. The biggest mistake most people make is living toward their desire instead of living from it. Always reaching, always hoping, always chasing something that feels miles away. But desire was never something you were supposed to chase. It was something you were meant to assume. Once that clicks, everything changes. You stop striving and start embodying. You stop asking when and start declaring now. Living from the end means you no longer identify as the person who's waiting. You identify as the person who has already received. That's not pretending. That's choosing a state of consciousness on purpose and staying loyal to it until the world outside has no choice but to agree with you. Neville Daily. What you can't see is the cause. What you can see is only the effect. Living from the end means you stop reacting emotionally every time something looks off on the surface. If a situation unfolds differently than expected, you don't spiral into panic. The fulfilled version of you wouldn't, because that version already knows everything is bending in its favor. So you borrow that response now. You think from completion instead of confusion. Notice how powerful this is. You're not hoping for change anymore, you're embodying it. You're not begging for permission, you're claiming your identity outright. And identity, by nature, is creative. Whatever you consistently identify as must eventually express itself in your world. It may feel subtle at first, but stay with it. Each time your mind slips back to, "I don't have it yet," gently return to, "It's already done." Not as a hollow phrase to convince yourself, but as a truth you're choosing to accept. Over time, that acceptance becomes dominant, and the outer world shifts to match it. Someone living from the end carries themselves differently, speaks differently, decides differently. Confidence without ego, patience without anxiety, expectation without force. That combination produces rapid, effortless alignment. You don't get what you chase, you get what you're conscious of being. So decide that now. Occupy the state fully. Walk as though it's settled. Think as though it's guaranteed. Feel as though it's natural. Then watch how quickly reality reshapes itself around the version of you who's stopped waiting. Because on the inside, the ending has already been accepted. There's a movement happening in your life that you can't fully see, yet it's more real than anything visible. The instant you assumed the feeling of your wish already fulfilled, a sequence quietly began. Not random, but precise. Call it a bridge of incidents, the natural chain of events carrying you from where you appear to be toward where you've already accepted yourself as being. Most people expect transformation to arrive as one dramatic flash. They wait for fireworks and obvious miracles. But creation rarely announces itself loudly at first. It moves quietly, almost ordinarily, which is exactly why so many miss it. They're scanning for magic, while the magic is hiding inside everyday events. An unplanned conversation, a delayed plan, a random idea, a chance meeting, a door that closes unexpectedly. None of these are interruptions, they're steps. Once the end is truly accepted internally, the middle takes care of itself. You don't need to design the path, and trying to control it usually slows things down. Whatever deeper intelligence responds to your assumption arranges details far beyond what your conscious mind could calculate. It knows who must move, what must shift, and when. Your only responsibility is loyalty to the ending. There will be moments where the bridge looks confusing, where something seems unrelated to your desire or even contradicts it. Don't judge too fast. A rejection may redirect you somewhere better. A delay may position you for a bigger outcome. React in fear and you step out of the state. Stay calm and you remain aligned with the movement you can't yet see. This bridge doesn't need your strain, it needs your trust. You don't dig up a planted seed to check its roots. You let the unseen process run. The same applies once an assumption is planted in consciousness. People feel inspired to reach out. Decisions get made in rooms you're not in. Opportunities appear without your effort. All of it responding to the state you've chosen. How fast the bridge moves depends on your stability. Keep digging up your assumption with doubt and you interrupt the momentum. Stay steady, even when nothing seems to be happening and everything accelerates. The bridge isn't separate from you. It flows through you as impulses, ideas, and quiet, intuitive nudges. You'll suddenly feel pulled to go somewhere, send a message, try something new. Follow those prompts without overthinking. They feel natural because they rise from the state you're already occupying. It never feels forced, it feels ordinary. You won't feel dragged toward destiny. You'll simply feel like you're living your life, while underneath, everything quietly aligns. One day you'll look back and see how perfectly it all connected. The delays made sense, the detours were necessary, the strange moments were essential. That realization brings real peace. You stop fighting appearances, stop demanding instant proof, and start watching your life unfold with quiet confidence, knowing something is moving even without seeing the full design. This bridge is unfolding now, not tomorrow. Every hour holds movement, even when the surface looks unchanged. Stay faithful to what you can't yet see. Keep thinking from the end, keep feeling it as done, and let the path reveal itself step by step. You don't need to know how or when, only who you've already decided to be. Once that state is chosen, the bridge has to appear. There's really only one thing that ever delays fulfillment. Not circumstances, not other people, not timing, but the old story you keep repeating about who you are and what's happened to you. If you want alignment to speed up, you have to drop that story completely. You know the lines, "It never works out for me," "I've tried before," "Things always take forever," "People always let me down," "Money never sticks around." These aren't harmless thoughts, they're identities, and identity is always creative. As long as you identify with the version of yourself who struggled or came up short, life has no choice but to reflect that version back at you. So many people try to create change while quietly staying loyal to their old disappointments, speaking their new desires out loud while internally replaying old setbacks. That divided state produces slow results, not because the law is weak, but because the assumption is inconsistent. Dropping the old story doesn't mean denying it happened. It means you stop introducing yourself internally as the person who went through it. The past holds no power except what you hand it by reliving it emotionally. Replay an old failure with intensity and you reactivate it in consciousness, and whatever's active in consciousness seeks expression again. Withdraw your attention, stop charging the memory, and it fades like a fire with no more fuel. This is why complete release matters. A partial one just keeps the old pattern alive. You can't claim success while secretly identifying as someone nobody ever supported, or claim abundance while retelling stories of how hard money used to be. Choose your identity on purpose. Ask, who am I now? Not who was I, not what did I go through. The moment you choose a new self-concept, protect it, because your mind will keep drifting toward the familiar. Each time the old narrative tries to resurface, replace it, not with force, but with decision. I am no longer that version of myself. That old version reacted differently, thought differently, expected differently, but you're under no obligation to keep repeating it. You're free to choose a new state any moment you want. And when you genuinely release the old story, everything speeds up, because there's no more inner contradiction. You're unified in your present assumption, and unity carries real power. Notice how much lighter you feel the moment you stop rehearsing old problems, and how much calmer you become the moment you stop identifying with limitations that belong to yesterday. Neville, daily. That lightness is alignment. That calm is creative authority. You don't owe anyone an explanation of your new identity, and you don't need outside validation for it. The transformation happens internally first. Once it's real inside you, it projects outward automatically. Even if people still see you through the lens of your old self, don't accept their version of you. People only ever reflect back the state you consistently occupy. Stay loyal to the new story long enough, and they'll eventually adjust too. The world doesn't control your identity, you do. Keep telling the story of delay, and life will keep echoing delay. Keep telling the story of struggle, and life will keep echoing struggle. But start telling, and more importantly feeling, the story of ease and favor, and life reorganizes itself to confirm that instead. Letting go of the old story isn't about pretending nothing happened. It's about recognizing you're not obligated to keep replaying it. You're not your past reactions or your past outcomes. You're the one choosing the state right now. And once you fully release that old identity, once you stop revisiting it, defending it, or explaining it to anyone, momentum builds, movement speeds up, and what once felt blocked starts flowing, simply because nothing inside you is contradicting the new assumption anymore. Let it go completely. Don't hang on to souvenirs from a version of yourself you no longer choose to be. Step fully into the new identity and watch how fast reality confirms the story you've decided to live. There's a point in every assumption where the movement stops feeling gradual and starts feeling inevitable. Right up until that point, it can seem quiet, subtle, almost invisible, but underneath pressure has been building, alignment has been forming, circumstances have been quietly rearranging to match your accepted state. Then, all at once, everything shifts. That's simply how manifestation tends to work. It often arrives in leaps. Water heats up slowly, degree by degree, with no visible change at all, until suddenly it boils. The shift looks sudden, but it was being prepared the whole time by steady, unseen change. Your outer world can look exactly the same for a while, but if you've stayed faithful to the end result, if you've kept your assumptions steady without slipping back into the old story, you're building toward a threshold. Cross that threshold, and the visible shift feels dramatic. Expect this, not with anxious anticipation or restless waiting, but with calm certainty. The fulfilled version of you isn't shocked by success. That version simply expects alignment as the natural result of belief. Expect struggle, and you brace for difficulty. Expect delay, and you prepare to wait. But expect a sudden breakthrough, and your whole nervous system relaxes into inevitability. You start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. You're no longer wondering if it'll happen. You're simply aware that it's already unfolding. Expectation itself is creative. Plenty of people unknowingly expect things to go wrong, hunting for confirmation of problems, rehearsing worst-case scenarios, and life obliges them. But start expecting favorable outcomes, Start assuming things are working in your favor behind the scenes, and your entire perception shifts. You begin noticing small evidence of progress everywhere. You interpret events with optimism instead of dread. You respond with composure instead of fear. That stability is exactly what speeds the shift along. The sudden breakthrough doesn't come because you forced it. It comes because you normalized the ending internally until it stopped feeling like fantasy and started feeling like plain fact. When that happens, the outer world has no resistance left to offer, and the reflection becomes clear and immediate. There may come a day when you get the message you've been hoping for, a day when an opportunity shows up out of nowhere, a day when circumstances line up so perfectly it seems impossible to be coincidence. When that day comes, don't react with shock. Don't say, "I can't believe this is happening." Say instead, "Of course, this was always unfolding." The shift only looks sudden from the outside. Internally, it was gradual the whole time. Every time you return to the end result, every time you refuse to entertain doubt, every time you identified as someone who already had it, you moved a step closer to visible confirmation. Here's something worth noting. The shift usually feels surprisingly effortless when it finally happens. No dramatic struggle, no overwhelming chaos. It slides into place naturally, and you might even think, "That was easier than I imagined." That ease is proof you were truly aligned. Don't be afraid of how quickly your own manifestation moves. Sometimes when things start happening fast, people panic. They question whether it's real. They go hunting for hidden problems. But remember, you asked for this change. You assumed it. Now simply allow it. The stronger your inner conviction, the faster the outer rearrangement follows. Stay steady even as momentum builds. Stay grounded in gratitude and calm assurance. The fulfilled state isn't frantic, it's peaceful, trusting the unfolding instead of needing to control every piece of it. And understand this, the sudden shift may not just bring what you originally asked for, it may bring even more, because shifting your identity doesn't just attract one single outcome, it rewrites the entire pattern of your life. New opportunities line up, new relationships form, new paths open that you hadn't even considered. That's why something big can feel so close. It isn't just one event on its way, it's an entire new chapter stabilizing itself. Keep expecting good news, keep assuming progress, keep walking as though the breakthrough is already scheduled, because it is. You don't need to know the exact hour, only to stay aligned with certainty. The shift isn't a maybe, it's a consequence. And when it arrives, it'll feel both surprising and completely natural, as if life simply stepped into the script you already wrote within yourself. Expect it, stay ready. Let the sudden shift reveal what's been quietly forming behind the scenes all along. Look back at where you once felt uncertain, doubtful, maybe even a little discouraged. And now look at where you are, calmer, steadier, more sure of yourself. That inner certainty is the real signal. The outer world never leads, it follows. Every time you chose faith over fear, every time you returned to the feeling of it already being done, every time you refused to accept appearances as final, you accelerated the entire unfolding. None of these pieces are assembling randomly. They're responding directly to you. Stay in the end. Refuse to go back to the old story. Expect the breakthrough, because when the person you are on the inside stays faithful, the world on the outside has no choice but to conform, quickly and completely. What's coming won't surprise the deeper part of you. It'll feel natural. It'll feel earned. It'll feel inevitable, because it was decided the moment you truly believed it. Thank you for spending this time here. Thank you for choosing faith over fear. Thank you for daring to assume bigger things for your own life. If any of this resonated with you, carry it with you through your day and return to it whenever doubt starts whispering again. Remember, the power was never outside of you. It never was. Stay aligned, stay certain, and above all, stay in the quiet knowing that something beautiful is already unfolding. Things are falling into place faster than you think, and the best part isn't ahead of you, It's already on its way. Neville Daily.